Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and with any luck, this should be our last recording of Danganronpa. So what happened was the game crashed and we lost some progress, and so I had to play a little bit off screen. You can see here that I'm at 872 as far as Monokuma tokens. I don't believe I will be able to get to 999 on screen. It has also been quite a while since I played. I've been having terrible days-long internet outages, which really doesn't excuse me from not pre-recording footage, but it distracted me certainly a lot. As every hour went by, I would think, oh well, maybe it's fixed now, maybe it's fixed now, maybe it's fixed now. It was very obsessive and stupid, much like playing this game in general has been fairly obsessive and stupid, playing this extra content. So yeah, we lost. It crashed when we tried to talk to Junko. So here's Junko. I got all the other characters. At some point, I accidentally hit a screenshot button on Steam, and now that is showing up as something I did, and I have no idea how that even would have happened. I decided to talk to Junko one more time before we all left. I wonder if this is the last time we'll ever see this place. The time we spent here didn't make much sense, but looking back, this is of course the school mode ending. I can't say I didn't have fun. There's still some mysteries left. What was Monokuma really? Why'd we end up here? Spoiler alert, we know that Junko is really not Junko, but Mukura Ikisaba. So her story and getting full relationship with her feels like that would be the most revealing, if you're going to get any revelations on any of these relationships getting up to 10 hearts, which I don't think you really are going to get much revelations there. It does bring about an interesting question as far as what would Danganronpa 2 do with Mukura Ikisaba, or are they just going to magically switch Junko back in, or just have Mukura Ikisaba take over the personality and name of Junko for the rest of the series. I guess it really doesn't matter what any character's name is. It has more to do with who they are and what they've done. I still don't have answers, but I'll have the time to figure it out once we escape. ... Junko, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Why? You're the one who decided to come and talk to me, right? Oh well, I just thought you seemed a little different than normal. ... If there's something bothering you, you can tell me. I might not be much, but I'd be happy to listen. ... Makoto, if I said we should stay here together, what would you do? See, Junko and Mukura Ikisaba know about the tragedy, and one assumes that the tragedy has already happened. So it would be very weird for Mukura at this point to try and convince them all to stay. It probably would have been better writing if in the main story the fake Junko had tried to convince people to stay and tried to really convince people not to kill each other, and that was like Mukura Ikisaba's goal the whole time, and fairly quickly at that point you would have the real Mastermind kill off the fake Junko, because the real Mastermind clearly did not want them to live in harmony forever. What? Why would you say that? Don't worry about it, just tell me. What would you do? Would you stay here with me? Hold on. Why would you want to stay here, I mean? ... Didn't you want to search for a new dream? Was that the prompt? After we get out of here? You're right. But when you think about it, the idea of chasing a dream is just too vague. There's no substance to it, no clue what it even means. You just end up desperate and lost. And then everything you've done is a waste. Besides, before I ever find what I'm looking for, the world might come to an end or something. The world might... What do you mean? Oh, relax, it's just a silly metaphor. But still, it's not like you're so scared imagining stuff. It's not like you to get so scared imagining stuff like that. Huh? Scared me? That's how it seems to me. It's okay to get lost. It's okay to keep searching. That by itself is better than not even trying. You said that, remember? So why are you so scared now? So I guess that was the right prompt. Otherwise, I was going to think that the wrong prompt might be giving us more information, which undoubtedly that is the case. That there would be wrong prompts that would give you slightly more bits of information. Stop talking, Makoto. I'm not scared. Of course I remember. I said it, didn't I? But I mean, sure. I do want to believe that there's something better waiting for me out there, which is why. Anyway, I have one more question. From this point on, no matter what happens, even if I don't seem like myself, will you stay by my side? I feel her eyes boring into me. Someone, I think that should be somehow, they feel different from the Junko I'm used to talking to. But seeing her standing in front of me, there's no doubt she's the same friend I've come to know. What are you talking about? You've never been anyone but yourself. You're the same girl I've known all along. What else could you be? You also have to assume that Mukuro Ikisaba has her memories intact, and unless the real Mastermind erased her memories too. They never really explained how that worked. So she does have like a completely different relationship and experience with all the characters to begin with, and yet we didn't really see any indication of her betraying that. Being the ultimate soldier, maybe she could keep that hidden, but otherwise it would have been probably even smarter to simply have erased Mukuro Ikisaba's mind and put her in the murder game with everybody else and not even have her remember who she was. Like, who else could you be? ... Hey, Makoto, I don't understand the word you're saying, you know? Yeah, but it's okay. I think I get what you mean. But are you sure about all this? I've always been a disappointment, at least according to her. But now I'm all alone, I just don't know what to do from here on out. You're not alone, Junko. I'll always be by your side. We can walk together searching for that dream. And if we get lost, if we run into trouble, we can do that together too. I'd like that. Thank you, Makoto. But she still looked troubled somehow. All I wanted to make her feel better, so without thinking, I took her hand. Huh? She looked surprised, but then she gripped my hand in response so tight it hurt. When you look at me, when I feel your hand in mine, I know that I'm real, Junko. The Junko I'd seen before, the Junko I was seeing now, was almost as like there were two of her. I feel like she must have a secret. One she can't tell me just yet. We see the freckles here though. This is still Mukuro Ikisaba, so there's like the only time Makoto would have actually seen the real Junko is through the pictures on the magazine. You never interacted with her. But no matter what it is, no matter what happens, I'll never let go of her hand. On my own soul, I promise. And we get just black underwear, nothing special or revealing there. That's how my life at Hope's Peak Academy ended, so we can take one look here at just the description of the underwear. Or we can't, because the game crashed again. Okay, well then let's see if we can launch the game again. Or it may just be a case that this game just is going to straight up crash every time. We'll skip this. The good news is I know I have a save. So, Danganronpa 51. So, we can... Now, in all fairness, the game has been running for a while, so maybe it is a memory leak on top of other things. So we'll just skip all this, and then I'm just going to try and skip to the end and not look at the underwear. And that way we can just save to the end and we'll look at the presents elsewhere. Yeah, that worked. Okay, we'll just be careful and overwrite a different save file. Okay. And then to look at the underwear, what we'll have to do is we'll have to do it from the next thing we want to do. There's a different ending here, and we'll have to get from the class trial to the final choice as fast as possible. There's also an achievement for specifically taking no damage, which probably I'm gonna have to do that off screen. There's 5 achievements left. If we get through this class trial, we should get 100 Monokuma tokens to get us almost to 999, but not quite. Now, unless the game just crashes when we click here to look at the underwear. Chihiro's favorite bloomers. Even if you got a peek under his skirt, you wouldn't be able to tell at a glance he was a boy. His choice of underwear clearly underlines how strong his fear of weakness really is. Junko's favorite underwear. In contrast to her title as the ultimate fashionista, the underwear is remarkably plain, however it's woven from blade resistant and bulletproof fibers, making it much more durable. Still, it doesn't seem to be spear proof. Oh, well, that kind of is a nasty thought to think about her getting speared in the groinal area. Celeste's favorite dark hued panties most notably features the toll lace. It's rumored to be that a C-rank human can't bear to gaze upon them. They give off the distant air of a queen. We'll just go through everything. Sakura's favorite loincloth. She wears the complicated garment to remind her daily of the process of putting her various martial arts uniforms. The loincloth represents her willingness to accept any challenge at any time. Toko's favorite panties. They're probably Genocide's Jack's favorite. They have reinforced elastic and loops to hold her deadly scissors. Oi's favorite panties. These kind of thing you'd expect in any bedroom in the world. Well, any girl's bedroom. They're as plain as any white prison inmate might wear, but still completely comfortable. The one drawback is they turn totally see-through if you go swimming in them. Let's see. Kyoko's favorite low-rise briefs. No matter what position she finds herself in, their mysterious darkness obscures her form. Whenever she's squatting to inspect a crime scene or climbing a ladder in search of evidence, she's safe. Saraka's favorite everyday underwear. They may be inexpensive, but when the ultimate pop sensation wears them, they still shine with an inner light. Of course, the brighter light, the darker the shadow. Yashiro's favorite bikini briefs. The higher the waist, the higher your look. This is what the salesman told him at one of his seminars, and he couldn't resist. Later, he would have run into severe money troubles. Hifumi's favorite briefs. These one-of-a-kind, not for sale anywhere. Item was designed to mimic garments of the Galactic King Robo Justice. Due to Hifumi's exceptional girth, the briefs have been stretched into a rather form-fitting thong. Leo's favorite support underoos. He may claim he hates baseball, but deep down, it still holds a special place in his heart. After all, that's what makes him ultimate. I feel like the reason why we get underwear at the end of this is because of just deceptive advertising and trickery. I bet in the Japanese promotion of this game, they said that you would get to see each character's underwear, and they didn't actually want to pay in orders to draw every character in their underwear. So they went with these 8-bit versions, and maybe that was their plan all along. It's very weird still, though. The slight perversion angle that comes into this game really feels like it comes out of nowhere. It serves no purpose at all. It really doesn't help the story or anything like that. I could see it happening maybe once, and then it would feel like almost a normal thing. Like sneaking into the bathhouse. Alright, that feels like something a high schooler boy might do. But to have Monokuma come into a lot of conversations and then say perverted things, and then have Genocide Jack and Toko say perverted things as much as they do, it doesn't really serve any purpose. If they were going to go down that route, I feel like they should have gone further down that route, and all of the story should have been around a bunch of kids who had snuck off to a abandoned school to like drink beer and sleep with each other. Like, that would have probably been a even more interesting story, is if they were guilty. This is what happens in Western horror movies all the time, is that it's not the innocent people that get killed. The people that get killed are guilty of some kind of moral crime. At least they're shown to have done some kind of moral crime of drinking or having premarital sex or something. And then Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger pops out and kills them. So if each of these characters were not ultimate students, where that idea really didn't get used enough, frankly, but were instead just regular high school students who snuck into a high school and then got trapped by the Mastermind, that would have been perhaps a little bit better feeling, because the only way you can even feel slightly happy about any of the characters dying is the fact that they themselves are trying to kill each other. But then I guess that doesn't fully go into the whole idea of despair. And it seems like the central thought of this game, like at the core of it, this whole concept came from the idea of the English word despair sounding like this, T-H-I-S, bear, B-E-A-R. That's why Monokuma's a bear. That's why they talk about despair. And from that pun, all other concepts were added on top. Anyways, continuing, Mondo's favorite boxer briefs. They fit nice and snug in order to keep from getting in the way when you're riding your hog. Mondo doesn't normally have a thing for tiger print, but at the instant he saw him, he found himself drawn to the design. That's interesting, but it doesn't really add anything to Mondo's characters. Byakuya's favorite high-end underwear comes from the only brand that the truly elite will wear. All the family's underwear is made to order in order to show no matter how much money some no-name upstart may have, there will never be a Togami. We have Kiyotaki's favorite briefs. They were also preferred briefs of his grandfather, the former prime minister and official ultimate manager. The manufacturer Military World claimed they help support all ideal Japanese men from down below. We don't get Makoto's underwear, though. And it's still weird that we got 4 Man's Fantasy. I don't know why we got 4 copies of that when we only got really 1 copy of it, anything else, except for this, which we went through that chapter twice, and that explains that. Alright, well. We have all of our skill set as best as I think. I just don't know if there would be any other way to potentially try and avoid taking damage. And I kind of wish this would just let you run. Let's see. Kyoko's gloves.
I got it. I'm talking about her glove.
Like, all the assistants aren't really gonna help. Let's see. Fake nails, I believe, is the response here. You really would need a
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
You really would just need a...
Wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt off in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
So we'll hit that.
No, that's wrong.
Like, if you want to get through any of these trials, specifically, I kind of wish I had just saved right before the decision. But I didn't have that foresight. Again, a walkthrough probably would have helped in that aspect. This is the bad ending.
Still alive. Then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Well, if we can't identify...
No, that's wrong.
Alright, let's keep on going. So we're just going for the bad ending. This may be a particularly short episode. Let's see. I think this should be Mukura Ikisaba's profile.
I got it. The Fenrir mercenary.
Now we gotta spell the word wolf, which we have an ability here that just fills in the first 3 of these, so all you need is an F, which means they could have never had a 3-letter word, but a 3-letter word would have been fairly simplistic anyways. And of course, if you don't remember the story here, we're just trying to identify that Mukura Ikisaba was the fake Junko from the beginning of the story. It would be funny if it turned out this is Mukura and the headmaster. I think it's supposed to be Makoto and Kyoko here.
Narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
So,
Are
you thinking of...
Ooh, 9 o'clock, I think is the right response here. But the problem is, they're still going to get a rhythm game section in... You get a rhythm game section even at the first class trial. So there's no way to get around that. Think sprinklers is the right response.
Established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Might need to suck in.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Okay. Something that happens in the garden at the same time every morning. Thinking about the corpse was almost totally dry. In which case, we should figure out when the body must have appeared in the garden.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
I think I need to suck in the other ones. It seems like every single instance
That's more than enough time to
of
commit
this.
murder, I should think.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess this up.
If you have any objections, now would be the time. We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night.
No, that's wrong.
And I got lucky there. This kind of highlights how there's just this kind of impossible scenario in which you would actually be able to play a court case later on.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! You don't know anything. It's enough. Hold on. Are you trying to blame me? I'm right about this. I admit nothing.
Why don't I have any bullets?
No, no, no!
I don't.
I don't know anything. That's enough.
Apparently, I don't have to reload bullets.
Are you trying to blame me?
I must have unlocked some ability.
I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me?
Alright.
How can you say it? This should prove it.
So if that's the only rhythm game and I got through that point, like,
Just
it
remember
probably
what the body was like after.
wouldn't hurt for my own sanity to just come over here and overwrite something. Because if I can just manage not to take any damage for the rest of this run, that would be great. I would get that achievement done too. There's also an achievement for unlocking like everything in the art gallery, but I can't do that until we have 999 for that achievement. Alright. Let's see. This should be the tarp.
I got it.
The side.
Let's see. Probably should just save in between every choice.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Why am I trying to replace her? I remember blood on the body hadn't dried yet. Bianca even wanted us not to touch it to avoid getting blood on us.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side, sprinkler got that
It wasn't dirty on only one side.
The underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
No, it wasn't.
that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Not sure if I did it.
Covering the body with the tarp.
Like, I don't know which one to do. Can we just save here? No, no, you cannot once you're in this.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
No, that's wrong.
Just ran a guess there.
Actually, one side being clean.
And we'll go ahead and save again. And we'll just save over the same file. And then we'll skip forward. From the chicken.
I got it. Could it have been? What?
And we'll just go ahead and save again. We'll just fully save scum here. I kind of have a hard time believing too many people would have been able to get through an entire trial without taking damage, without save scumming or cheating in some way, and pretty much having all the skills unlocked, which
Then
that
settles it.
once again highlights how the achievements are the only reason why a lot of the content in this game exists. Most people would have just played this game through the first run and then been done with it. They would have never touched school mode, particularly since we know school mode was added in 1.2 reloaded version of this game. They would have never tried to max out the relationships or played the game multiple times to date and max out the relationships. That must have been a nightmare for the people who originally played the game, because they would have had to play the main story over and over again. Which, in playing the main story, maybe then they get forced into doing the trials more often, and maybe that forces them to get a lot more Monokuma tokens, which might explain how you would get 999 in that case if you had to literally play the main story 5 times.
They pulled it. They wanted us to. Wouldn't they be done?
I must admit.
Okay.
Well then, Makoto's.
So, the good ending, for as good as you can call it, is where the remaining 4 or 5 characters escape. And we trigger that by keeping Kyoto's secret key that she has secret from Monokuma and the rest of the group.
It's not that.
So yeah, we're gonna see a bad ending, but I want to see it anyways. I don't think any of those are the right response.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto. It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
I think I may not have actually gotten.
That is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
Let's see. Body established the coat was put on the body after the tarp was removed, which means the knife was thrust in the coat into the body.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body. It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
So I think I am supposed to just use exploded body analysis
If he did have that knife before,
for
that seals it.
getting stabbed is what killed her.
Just because I had the knife.
Yeah, but right now I have a feature that's not bringing up any of the whispers, so I'd have to play that.
Shoot.
Alright, well. Let's figure out what this is, and then
Found lodged in the dead body.
if it's not.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto. It really is, isn't it? I was afraid.
If he did have that knife before, that seals it.
Just because I had the knife, that automatic.
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
Nope, that's wrong too.
Shoot.
But you can see I'm barely taking any damage either.
Found lodged in the dead body. It's the same one. It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that, that seals it. Just because I had the that automatically.
Well, getting stabbed is...
No, that's wrong.
So it was disguised dead body.
Wait, hold on.
Alright, so system, load, phase 7. Come back here. Hit continue. It can. Skip all of this. I would still imagine most people would have played the game linearly, so by the time they went through a full circle of the story, they still probably wouldn't remember the exact prompts and things that you're supposed to click on all this. And even if you're trying to go in skip mode and go as fast as I'm going, you're still moving fairly slow. Alright, disguised dead body.
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that knife before, that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that
Come on,
automatically
come on.
makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is.
No, that's wrong.
Okay,
Wait,
and then
hold on.
we can come over here and we can save right over that.
The knife had been thrust.
The exact condition of the body was written down for everyone to see in the Monokuma file.
The Monokuma file clearly.
Alright, system, save again. I think there's, man, I gotta remember to use the D-pad here. I think there's 12 phases in this.
They
But if we're getting perfect answers too, we may get all the way up to 999 because we may get that extra 25 we need or so. Let's see. We need the... Let's see. We're looking for a bomb. I guess that's fragments near the dead body.
I got it.
Yeah.
After the explosion,
And we'll once again save.
What's the problem?
We really didn't get a good explanation as to why that Monokuma just died and they were allowed to take it apart. And that they weren't punished retroactively for taking apart a Monokuma. Is that the robot Monokuma that died? Perhaps
Then shall
and
we
got
continue
replaced
the
with a
debate?
real Monokuma?
The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. Yes.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't you because of the knife, right? Then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
Is that what we're supposed to suck in?
The victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then shall we
See, I
continue
think
the
we're
debate?
supposed to
The
actually...
victim's fatal injury has yet
The explosion didn't kill her.
I think in this case I'm actually supposed to get the wrong response. Because this is the...
There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
and more than that,
So I think I'm supposed to do that one.
the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Although the right response would be countless wounds, but we don't know that, or you're not supposed to know that until the end of the game,
The debate?
in the next chapter.
Fatal injury has
So I hope that's right.
no, that's wrong. Mukuro died because of the
And see, this is where the game just intentionally forces you to be wrong. Where, yeah, at this point, even in the first game, I kind of had already figured out that that wasn't the case. And I will point out, even though I did watch Game Grumps up to a certain point playing this game, I did not watch up to this point. Well, I think I may have actually watched it, but Game Grumps was none the wiser. They didn't know either. It just seemed fairly obvious.
Seriously?
This whole game feels not particularly as high-minded,
tell them, Makoto.
but
Surely you've deduced the real murder weapon?
there is also a case to make an argument that most murder mysteries do have to kind of be averaged out. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to make a real murder mystery that nobody could figure out. People would just feel like that was unfair, and mean-spirited. And so the titanium arrows.
I got it. Mukuro was hit in the back of the head.
And we'll just keep on saving. We're up to phase 10, I believe. We'll keep on skipping. I assume the bloody duct tape is what we're looking for.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
You sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
So am I supposed to shoot tin? Too thin is the right response.
Right!
It was just that titanium arrow wouldn't be nearly thick enough, which is why they used
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right?
bloody duct tape.
No doubt.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Right. Because it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe. It seems like an arrow would just be...
Hopefully that's right.
You're right. Just the one arrow would have been.
I suppose if we're save scumming here, the bigger question would become, could I save scum and then load the save and then beat the level a second time and get even more Monokuma tokens? Probably not. Like, I imagine what in the act of loading you would
How can you say that was
restore the number of Monokuma tokens you had before. I have evidence that Kyoko went to the dojo. Must be connected to the dojo locker. I hope this is the wood block key.
I got it. The one thing that proves.
Yep. And we are getting very close now to the other ending.
Because it was.
Don't bother trying. That key, you're this.
Kyoko's ability to hear death also is another element that just doesn't really get explained. Nor does the idea of trying to kill Makoto in his sleep, but then creating an entire murder mystery. And
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
let's go ahead and save here to have a flake blackened.
Really? But you should know. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know.
When the body was found, I don't think that's the right bullet.
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm
So-
not the killer.
She's not the killer
You
because
should understand that more than
she
anyone.
couldn't have gotten in a room to leave the wood block key
Master would never
because
hide something from me.
Byakuya had taken the key from her
There's proof
room.
that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Wait, Kyoko gave her room key to Byakuya, right? Which would mean...
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the
I
evidence of
don't know
my
which
crime
one
in
I'm
the
supposed to
dojo
shoot.
and then left the locker key in my own room, correct?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the one you're supposed to sunk in. That's also a very long bullet.
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the
So I'm not supposed to
You should
shoot
understand that
this
more
one,
than
I don't
anyone
think.
here.
It would have been nice if 2
Where are you
prompts
hiding?
were equally acceptable in some of these scenarios.
There's proof that you
I
are
hope
the
this is right.
No, he's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko.
And then we can save one more time. This is a great example of why you don't want to save scum when making YouTube videos. I imagine a lot of people edit that kind of stuff out. Kyoko won't be able to get into her room? Huh? Why not? Because she'd given her room key to Byakuya. I see, so that's what you meant.
I had the key to your room.
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
It would appear not.
But she does have a skeleton key that nobody knows
Then
about
you're
except for
finally
Makoto.
starting to understand.
Dot dot dot. No, that's not actually true. There was a clear contradiction in what Kyoko just told us. An obvious lie, but this isn't just like her. Try and save herself in such a desperate lie. Dot dot dot. Does she really feel that threatened because she's the killer, or is it something else? Was there some deeper meaning hidden into what Kyoko said earlier? This is actually a useful flashback since we skipped so much. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of the skull will stay hidden forever, which is why I can't let that happen. This is a trap the Mastermind has laid for us. The Mastermind's trapped. The Mastermind is trying to trap Kyoko, but what if that's not really true? What can I do? What should I do? What should I? Now, as far as I can tell, this is the only real branching path. There is a point in Chapter 3 where we can see the characters in the bathhouse, the girls in the bathhouse. It's not, I think, even going to expose anything, really, because they're all going to be in towels. But that is a branch that then loops back into the main story, so it's not a real branch. It's just a side quest. The Mastermind's trapped. The victim was Mukuro, and Kyoko killed her. What does Kyoko really know? What am I supposed to do? Kyoko's lie. If I'm the only one who knows about it, who knows it's a lie, I'm the only one who can expose it. But who can I trust? What am I supposed to do? Now, if we go through this bad ending and it doesn't give us any Monokuma tokens, then we'll go through the good endings and get the Monokuma tokens. That will be easier than anything else. Mastermind's trap. If you spend all your time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. We know the danger, but if that risk means solving the mystery, we have no choice. Am I wrong? Notice I'm not skipping this part. What do I do? I have to decide right here and right now. So you can't run away. You can't let go is the right ending. Let's pursue the lie.
There was a lie hidden within Kyoko's statement just now.
Why?
Dot dot dot.
Isn't that right, Kyoko?
Dot dot dot.
You said it. The burden of proof is on you. So let's hear it. Where's this lie then?
Kyoko is definitely lying, and it must be because there's some other deeper truth she wants to keep hidden. Well, going this route, we may end up doing another challenge here.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya.
That's true.
There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
Then, when we searched Kyoko's room, how else could the key have gotten there?
Someone other than me must have put it there. That's the only explanation.
So you suck in the phrase "the key." Kyoko herself told me before the trial started that she had stolen something very important from the headmaster's room.
I didn't have the key to my room.
She doesn't have the
Because
key to the
I'd given
room.
it to Byakuya.
Hmm.
There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
Oops.
Shoot!
Well, geez, do I want to load? Can't load at the moment. Let's figure out the right
I
answer.
didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that.
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten.
No, that's wrong.
Alright, so it literally was just that. Alright, well,
No.
so system load phase 11. Continue, continue. Skip all of this. I didn't realize it was going to make us do another fight. I didn't realize I was going to add so much extra content.
There was a.
I can't save at this point, though, so if I am going to save, I need to save in a different save slot.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten.
No, that's wrong.
So yeah, at this point,
Kyoko.
if we are going to save, we need to put it somewhere else. We'll just put it right below. No, Kyoko could have gotten into a
You
room.
said so yourself, didn't you, Kyoko?
Actually, to be precise, not quite. I used Monokuma's secret tool, which can open any lock in the school. What?
Monokuma's secret tool?
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room. It lets you get into any room in the school. Which means she could have used it to get into her own room.
Dot dot
Then I
dot.
guess that's it.
You're giving up just like that? You admit to killing.
No, I'm simply recognizing that I lost.
What are you talking about?
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape.
So, are they even gonna have a vote, or is Monokuma just gonna grab her and kill her
So I
now?
lost. That's all this means.
And this may be the first time we've seen any character turn around backwards. What's funny is I don't know if I ever have seen this image used before for Kyoko. So did they literally draw one image to only use it once? That seems kind of crazy. Huh?
Then, are you saying you really didn't... Kyoko, you really...
Yeah, then they quickly twist back to Makoto realizing his mistake.
aren't the killer?
Okay, time's up.
Huh?
And I wonder if we're going to get a special execution of her, or if it's going to just be the exact same punishment that they did to Makoto.
Sorry to say, but your
Except
time
for
is
at this point, I don't know why Alter Ego doesn't save the day for Kyoko in the same way she would have saved the day with Makoto. I guess maybe it's just because Makoto is the ultimate lucky student and his luck helped Alter Ego hack the system.
But that's ridiculous! Since when is there any...
It's because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran out. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you. But I guess we already know who the blackened is, don't we?
See, this would be funny if they tried to vote for Monokuma, but I don't think Monokuma's even an option that they can vote for. I guess the question is, have we ever seen Monokuma in the Spinners? There is a Monokuma in the Spinners. So, yeah. Dot dot dot. Pew, good job. You got it right. Brilliantly right. We got it right. Does that mean Kyoko really is the killer? But something strange is going on here. There's something wrong with this whole class trial. Kyoko. Dot dot dot.
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
Is everyone ready? Okay then.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
It's important to point out here, like many bad endings for visual novels, there's an entire chapter or plus an epilogue after this point that I assume you just aren't going to be able to play. And you could see expanding that idea and it becoming even worse, where if you got bad endings and it made you go back and play the whole thing again multiple times. So she's on the desk, and she's getting smashed on the school desk, same as Makoto. So the punishment doesn't change much. And we see Monokuma teaching about a guillotine on the board. And we're not seeing Alter Ego show up. After school lesson, you kind of assume that she's trapped under the table and can't escape. And she just hears a pounding behind her. And he's teaching sex ed somewhat there, and she's blushing because of that. Again, the weird perversion, just in completely inappropriate timing. They just re-rendered this image. It is doing different cinematography, where it's getting closer and closer, zooming into her head. Then it just goes to full blackness, and you hear a squishing sound. And that's how the class trial of Mukura Ikisaba came to an end. I still had to wonder why Kyoko was actually whether Kyoko was actually innocent, or regardless of the truth was lost forever. Even for me, I just stopped thinking about it. That was the end of Mukura's class trial, and the end it would prove to be our last class trial. Once the case was over, there was never a single murder at Hope's Peak ever again. That is consistent with the main game too. We had obtained peace in exchange for the lives of all the others. And so here you can see peace, but only inside the school. So here you can see Byakuya holding a photo of Toko, who I guess just died at some point of old age. And then you have Makoto with a little baby Makoto being held by Aoi. So she is the mother that had children both with Yashihiro, and you can see a Yashihiro baby too. There's also a Byakuya child that's older. So either all three of those kids are Aoi's, and she became the mother of all the kids, 3 boys. There's no like continuation of the human race at that rate, though, because they're all boys, unless Yashihiro is a girl or Makoto's is a girl. I doubt that from the looks of their clothing. But even if it was, even if Aoi was able to give birth to a girl, the inbreeding would just be so incredibly high. Even if Toko had been around and she had been able to, say, give birth to 3 children by each of the 3 males, and Aoi was able to give birth to 3 children by each of the 3 males, which is almost certainly not going to happen. Even at that, you would still have to pretty much run very complicated anti-inbreeding steps to even potentially try to regrow a population. I think I calculated it once, and if you have say less than 3,000 humans, the chances of the human race surviving is pretty much null. You kind of would like to know how Choco died. Must have been peacefully. It wasn't a murder. You kind of would want to know where these new clothes and resources came from. You also kind of want to know, why would the ultimate despair, why would Junko let them live in this balance and just let them live forever? Why wouldn't she at some point just try to use Makoto's spears to kill them all and get bored with it? It doesn't make a lot of sense, particularly if Junko had managed to destroy all the pockets of hope in the outside world. It kind of seems pointless. Maybe Junko left the school after that point and just left them to live their own lives, and maybe Monokuma never shows up again, and the rest of everything else is just automated. Because we kind of know that Monokuma and Junko were not part of the plan as far as the rest of the school. Peace, but only inside the school. Peace, but only for us. That was the only hope we had. Hope. Hope. ... Hope. What's funny here is when this image was described to me in the walkthrough, they said it was an image of the characters much older. Yeah, they don't look that much older. Makoto, if he was a 16-year-old when the game started, and remember there's that 2 years they've forgotten about, that would make him 18 years old. By anime style, he still pretty much looks like he at most would be like 25 or maybe 30. Like they don't look really, really old. There's an indication that Byakuya has toned it down quite a bit, not wearing his ridiculous outfits, and Yashahiro has toned it down quite a bit, not wearing his ridiculous outfits. Hope. This is Hope?
No, this isn't right.
No, this isn't right. Huh?
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? Don't you have a rebuttal for Kyoko's claim?
So you get the bad ending, but then it throws you back into the story or claim. Oh, that's right, I have to. Do I expose the lie or not? Okay. So you let it go anyways. And we'll just skip forward and let Makoto be killed and punished. Score is still not like as good as I would like it to be. I feel like I just managed to take 0 damage, and yet how I got to 1077 seems to be a complete factor of just time. That gave me 78 tokens, which is not quite enough.
Now, who will be chosen
I
as
did
the
get an
bracket?
achievement
Will you make the right choice
for not taking
or
any
the
damage.
dreadfully wrong?
Alright. So it's a looping section also that goes back to the main story. And we can go ahead and let's just go all the way to the end of the chapter and then save. At this way we can at least compare the punishment animation back to back and see how much really was different. This is pretty much exactly the same, except for Makoto sweating a lot more. It is very Deus Ex Machina of the story to really just have Makoto, he's teaching the same thing for the first panel. Like, to have Makoto just be extra lucky and that's why the story changes. It's not as good of an explanation as I would like to have hoped. There is definitely a question, I suppose, if you were going to make a short run anime based on this too, and the fact that you can see he's blushing quite a bit. Like, if you were going to make a short run anime on this, you at most could have 3 or 4 episodes per chapter, which could give you like 18 episodes. Unless you're going to try to do alternate realities. Here we can see Alter Ego does show up in this one. And stops it. It's not like Alter Ego liked Makoto more than Kyoko. So that's a slightly different image, definitely. What I feel like is weird though is the rocket ship seems like there's like this whole rocket ship punishment that happened to a student before we even started, and it feels like the whole game is either left that out intentionally so that there could be a story that occurs in the middle of the story, or it is left out intentionally because of censorship reasons. But yeah, I can't imagine that there would have been a chapter where it was just incredibly different that it needed to be censored. Yeah, it's just another piece of like teasing of more story. Yeah, you have that whole rocket ship. Alright, well, let's go ahead and save here. And we'll just overwrite that one. I'd kind of like to load this and see something here. That's where we're just kind of wasting time. It's not like I'm gonna have a lot to say. I want to see if we get more than 10,077 points if we choose to just go with the good ending first. Otherwise, you're actually going to be rewarded to actually do the wrong answer first and then do the right answer. $90, $90, $77, $77, $77, $77. Yeah, you get less points. Although it seems like the less points don't really make much of a difference.
Now,
alright.
who will be chosen?
System load. $950, so we would need 4 more things. So chapter 3 is, I believe, where the extra content is. Let's see. And of course, I could have just looked at that in the walkthrough. So I guess what happens is the young man's fantasy item is actually a Monokuma drop, and a Monokuma vending machine toy present. And chapter 3 was the one that starts here too. So chapter 3 is the chapter that would be the one that would be more censored anyways, if any of them. I guess chapter 3 right is in the middle of the story. So once I had gotten that item, the cutscene I think happens by itself. And I think is pretty much unavoidable. So I'm hoping that this whole sequence can occur without me having to hang out with anybody. I mean, I really shouldn't have to. So I'm just hoping that we can look at this fairly quickly. Alright. Leave the area. Are we supposed to go to the bathhouse? I think we are. Bathhouse sequence I don't think really requires you to be in anywhere. Alright. So we're, I suppose, looking for what would trigger the interactions. And I don't think that there really is anything that triggers interactions, so let's see if we can just skip the story forward by going to our bedroom and calling it a day. I guess maybe we're supposed to just walk around Hope's Peak. Do you think I could get 50 tokens? I feel like that's a negative. It should have been the 3rd floor. So we should be able to now go up here. And now that we have the 3rd floor map, we can basically go to every single room. And just see if we can skip all of this.
Listen up.
We're just trying to rush through this as fast as possible. So talking to specific people doesn't really matter. It should just be good enough to run into the rooms. And if we get far enough that we aren't actually in the... I mean, here we've got that picture, and the whole picture stuff is just a tease. I feel like that picture was found somewhere else, but I could be wrong. if we don't talk to people with the prompts, can we get anywhere? No, I guess you really did have to use react mode this whole time. If you have to really talk to people, I don't know if you really have to talk to people. This may just be enough to go into the areas. If not, I'm gonna have to potentially go back and talk to several other people. I guess maybe I do have to talk to people, so we'll talk to people. Or maybe we just need to grab this camera. Forget what even the prompts are to look at things.
Watch out!
Yeah, even if I really struggled to find all the Monokuma tokens in this section, it would not be 50. It's easier just to go rush through the first chapter's challenge again. Alright, let's see if we can talk to Aoi first. So I guess I'm just gonna have to talk to everybody. There's Celeste hiding back behind him. Behind Sakura. So we have to have that whole conversation about the camera and Hifumi, who pretty much is an unimportant character. Then we're having a conversation about the photo. We'll just skip all of that. You certainly have to skip through a lot of stuff here before you can even reach the
What the heck?
before you can reach the cheesecake scene anyways. Who am I supposed to be talking to? This kind of highlights how this whole conversation mechanic doesn't really work if you're not paying attention. Then you get a flashback for more Aoi in underwear. It does highlight an interesting point here, is that if you're going to make a character who's supposed to be the romantic love interest or object of sexual desire. Eventually in the story, that character is probably going to evolve into a more motherly figure and someone you want to bear your children as you age, and that becomes more of a focus instead of the standard one-night stand. Of course, most anime stories don't ever have romances go that far. You get the story ending at the first kiss, not the first kid or dying of old age.
Well,
Alright. Tons and tons of text. You would think they would want to put a subchapter point here. And
so,
what I want to do is just go ahead and make a save. Just overwrite something. That way, if it crashes or something, we don't end up having to go through all that. And try to have this whole conversation. Ton and ton of content. And at least this time the conversation is completely linear, so you're not having to pick people.
So that
Music plays. And you get introduced to Alter Ego.
are you
Just keep Man, there's really nothing to say when you're just skipping through so much text. This also highlights a problem if you were going to try and speedrun a visual novel. It would be so incredibly boring, and this kind of highlights why a lot of games are incredibly boring if you tried to speedrun them, because all you can really do is hit like a maximum of holding down the B button. And that's pretty much it. Like you're gonna save seconds at most by being able to pick out the right responses and move as fast as possible. As soon as we were out in the hall, Hina let out a joyful shot. Isn't it awesome? I ended up doing something totally awesome, right? It's as if he'd been waiting for his cue. Monokuma arrived. Dun 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 dun. Hina's gained enough experience to level up.
What's the matter?
So what was this awesome something? Monokuma?
What the heck?
You guys all seem in remarkably good spirits. Did something happen? I suppose it also goes to point out that Junko, assuming she's the one controlling Monokuma in all instances, and maybe she is, maybe she isn't, maybe Junko was crazy and never really controlling Monokuma. But if Junko was controlling Monokuma, every time Monokuma made a perverted from a male perspective statement, that's the female Junko making that statement. So I don't know if she's just a little crazy or if she's a little bit more of a lesbian. You can take it, I suppose, any way you want it. It could be neither. It could be literally that in some part of her split personalities, Junko, the true Junko, really did want everybody to settle into a life living in the school and just living together and eventually procreating. If all 16 students had lived, the odds of inbreeding, not killing everybody out in a few generations would have been higher, much higher than 4. You guys seem in remarkably good spirits. Did something happen? No, nothing in particular. Oh, keeping secrets no fair. I demand an exclusive interview. Denied, denied, super denied. Yeah, just because you demand something doesn't mean we have to do it. Do it? You mean like do it to do it? Wait, What do you mean, do it, do it?
Dis.
Ew, gross. You said do it.
Just the worst.
What? You said it first. We were just talking about going to the bathhouse. We have not had a chance to relax in some time. Huh? But unfortunately, the bathhouse is not divided into women and men sections. So we decided to do rock, paper, scissors to decide which group would go first. Hina won the match first, and that's why we are all so pleased.
Huh?
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of which. Okay, boys, why don't you head back to the dining hall or something? We're gonna take a nice long bath.
Hey, come
Aw,
on.
geez, what are you gonna do, right? We lost fair and square. Well, ladies, shall we go? Celeste didn't hesitate coming up with the ruse, and her poker face didn't even flinch. So she and the other girls headed back into the dressing room.
Damnation!
Nuts and damn it, we totally lost. Another day without getting to take my very first bath here. Yeah, but tomorrow for sure. You'll definitely get that bath tomorrow. Okay, so should we head back to the dining hall now? Hold on. Something's strange here. Very strange. Strange? What do you mean? What's strange is this is a perfect chance for you to sneak a peek. See, so why would Junko suggest this? Why is Monokuma like this? Huh? That's... So let's go ahead and make another save here. Just in case. I mean, really, it doesn't matter because you'll unlock this in the extras anyways. You're absolutely right. I thought you were all about the 2D. All of you need to shut up, sit down, and listen to what I have to say. An opportunity like this doesn't come along very often. It's the ideal setting of a man's fantasy. ... I was forced to ask myself, should I sneak into the bathhouse like Monokuma said, or just go quietly back to the dining hall? And Makoto, I guess, because we have an item, says, okay, let's go. With the man's fantasy burning in my chest, I decided to head back into the bathhouse. Pew. Have fun in your man's fantasy. Have a smashing good time. The only reason I could think Monokuma would suggest this, or Junko would suggest this, is it would create conflict and despair, which I guess that makes sense. We opened the door to the dressing room and silent as death and peeked inside. It looked like the girls had already finished changing and gone into the bathhouse. They had all stated, this had all started as a lie, but apparently they decided to go in for real. And see, I think it's worth pointing out that a lot of visual novel games that do have nudity and sexual situations in them, they pretty much only give you maybe a dozen images like what we're about to see. More explicit images, I'm sure, but nothing particularly that amazing. It's hardly like you're going to get a 30-minute cutscene in an adult visual novel or anything that's really worth the effort or worth the money you would pay. In most cases, there are a few good ones and that have really good gameplay mechanics too, or really good stories, but the vast majority of them are very low effort stories and just straight standard visual novels, or they're RPG Maker style games that make you grind through terrible RPGs with bad stories just to see one or two images. It's just not really a good market, frankly, for adult entertainment, where you can certainly get similar imagery just through adult animes, or if you want it animated, or just porn in general if you want live action porn. Making sure it was empty, we quietly made our way into the dressing room, the Forbidden Land.
But
So they really are taking a bath. Is this what Celeste meant about lying conceivably? What's that word, conceivably? Convincingly. Yeah. Please refrain from pointless whispering. We're deep in enemy territory here. Just up ahead is the bathhouse, and there awaits a great dazzling passion. What I'd also like to see, since we're here, I believe we had 4 young man's fantasies to begin with, so does it take one away after this? point. I bet it doesn't. Just ahead is the bathhouse, and there awaits a great dazzling passion. Alright. So, what are you doing, Mr. Naegi? There's no fantasies in there. If you need to calm down, try counting prime numbers. Okay, we will talk to these characters. Okay. You're on point. Be careful, don't get caught. If Ogre finds us, we'll be meeting up with Hades in no time. Alright, so there's nothing to do here, but they are going to manually make you click on the door and peek. I place my hand on the door leading into the bathhouse. I open it gently, inch by inch. I maneuver my hand like a master craftsman to avoid making even the slightest sound. A little further, and then on the other side of the thick rising steam, I saw you get to see all of them in that image, and you don't get to see much of anything, just backs and people in towels. ... I'm not sure how to put it, but I always feel refreshed when after a job was well done. By the way, it moved forward on itself, which, like, I guess that doesn't give you time to really check out the image until you get to the extras. A 3D body isn't so bad in its nude state, I suppose. But still, I just can't believe it, like, for serious. Ogre's a girl. ... Was this really okay? Well, I look too, so I guess I'm gonna have to say yes. Meanwhile, we heard the buzzing of busy voices growing loud. The girls had finished their baths and joined us in the dinner hall.
You got it.
Oh man, what a nice bath. Getting a chance to stretch out and relax after all this time was a true pleasure. There's still plenty of characters, though, in that image that would have been dead at that point. Let's see. So, you don't get to see Sayaka. You don't get to see Junko, and you don't get to see Chihiro, which Chihiro, had she been alive, would have probably raised objections at that point anyways. So you don't quite get all of them. And yeah, I don't know if there really is any big difference there. You still have 4 of those. Between getting 8-bit underwear and that being not very satisfactory, or getting a screenshot like that, which that not being that interesting really.
Indeed.
Of course.
Sorry, no time for that.
So in the end,
That's what I figured, huh?
Actually,
We were just saying in the bath how it's about time for you to get up to something. Okay. And see, this would just move the story forward.
Oh. It would seem...
Huh?
However, correct.
Okay. And I don't know if Toko was in the image.
well,
Either. And so the story is just kind of moving forward, and I don't think that there's a real reason to move this story forward anymore. Yeah, this is just the motive. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save one more overwrite save file, just in case we ever did really need to do that. And then we need 50 more tokens. Could we get 50 more tokens quicker by doing a class trial in chapter 1? Or do we get any tokens if we do the prologue? Or would it be smarter to start chapter 1 from the beginning, run around the entire school, and just see if we can find a bunch more tokens, Monokuma tokens that way? Honestly, I think it would be fairly easier just to do the class trial. Let's see. Looking to see if there's any whispers that gets see. Something here obviously eliminates the whispers, because I'm not seeing any of these. But also, I don't think the whispers would even be in the... You know what it is it's because I didn't set the right difficulty. So I may have to come back and play some more trials just to shoot more whispers and do a whole bunch of grinding. But the good news is that doesn't have anything to do with Monokuma tokens, so we can just kind of rush there. There is also a issue, certainly, that the chapter 5 challenge, you don't have like a full story recap in that scenario. What would really suck is if even rushing through all this, I still managed to do so much damage that I don't get 50 tokens. Right.
So what was used to kill? It was some kind of shot without a doubt. So the killer used some random knife that... No, that's wrong.
And there's just no good, fast way to do this. And I feel like this probably is the shortest.
No question that the kitchen knife was the... But where does that get?
Makoto must have taken it. He did it in secret. Nobody was in the dining, and then he went and stabbed Sayaka with it.
So he really did do it. Yes. We've reached the end.
Why did that work?
So I guess there's no question at the kitchen, but where does that get?
Makoto must have taken it. He did it in secret.
I just missed. Interesting. Well, missing doesn't hurt you, at least with all the extra abilities I have. I think there probably would have been an argument for a earlier court case that was quicker and oops.
I got it.
Let's see, not all. You kind of know that there's
Now I understand.
the original way this game was created was designed to be like
That's right.
overplayed and just poorly designed. Unless it was a case where you would have gotten double or triple the Monokuma tokens originally in the 1.2 Reloaded. It's the doorknob.
I got it.
Like, yeah, I suppose that you could have sped it up with just giving more Monokuma tokens.
Sayaka was first attacked in the main room.
Okay.
She then fled into the bathroom.
Then the killer ran after her, and they got into the bathroom. At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door because Sayaka had locked it.
And finally, the culprit had Sayaka cornered.
To finish the job.
It was you! We already know the answer. The incident took place. Sayaka was first. She then fled into the...
Then the killer ran out and they got into the bathroom. At that point, the killer had it because Sayaka had locked it.
See, and that can't be the case. So we gotta rush.
I got it.
Keep on skipping things. I think this is supposed to be switching rooms.
I got it.
Yeah,
No.
it's just way too much text here. And if you were to make it so I could hold down B and skip like all the way to the next prompt, that would be nice, but you'd almost have to make it where I'd be able to.
But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says my room.
Yeah, you'd have to have it be start, skip to the next decision. Otherwise, it would be too easy to accidentally hit the button. Skipping a few sentences forward.
The room that Makoto was staying in.
I think that's right.
The nameplate's
So if I could do this, or if I could do this, and then have a skip option to the next choice, that'd be nice. But I don't even know if this game... The only person who knew we had switched rooms was Sayaka.
Me and
You look at the wrist, there's no doubt that... I mean, I think I'm supposed to do Sayaka's wrist here. You can't even bring up the... You can't even bring up the dialogue to look back in that scenario. Non-stop debates. I suppose there is probably something interesting about this story in the fact that you have people defending themselves and arguing and they're Japanese, whereas the Japanese would probably just by default insincerely say
Sword-based sneak attack.
so
And that's what broke Miss Mizono's wrist.
so
She grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden in her leg. But then the culprit took...
And they killed her with
yeah, the Japanese traditionally would just insincerely apologize, and even if they hadn't done it, perhaps even in a murder case like this, I think there's probably been quite a few instances in which Japanese people have confessed to crimes and just been sent away. So if you wanted to use the sword, which part of your palms? The water was off.
I got it.
When the damage to show would have been the one without the sword, which would have been Sayaka.
I got it.
And then just a ton of stuff to skip.
It's easy just to say, hey, but there just aren't any more clues, right? No, it's wrong.
Dying message, and then we implicate Leon. I have one to implicate
I got it.
I have one to implicate like
I see.
Hifumi,
What the heck?
Hey, Chihiro.
Oh,
but we know that won't work. And there's kind of just no reason to make mistakes here and get less Monokuma tokens. I don't know if you actually select a killer even in the 5th chapter. So there's entire like gameplay mechanics. Oh, what's interesting is he's still wearing that same shirt.
I got it.
It would have been at this point in particular that he shouldn't be wearing that t-shirt. So he just has multiple copies of that shirt, I suppose.
I got it.
But yeah, you would assume that this would have been the quick and easy tutorial section.
Whoever was on Cleaning Beauty must have had it, right?
So the only one who could get to the person in charge of the trash?
And you'd have to get close to the incinerator. No, that's wrong.
So yeah, this just isn't fast. If anything, it's as long as the 5th one.
I got it.
Maybe even longer. Even though there may be less discrete sections, there's still a ridiculous amount of dialogue. Alright. For a second there, I thought it wasn't gonna work. Let's see, room of the crime scene incident where he entered would have been that, and then he notices something in the room. Deflect. Did they remove the hair? I don't know if that's the right. Or did they do this? The screwdriver. I'm wearing out my voice. I really need to find a game I can play next that is not much talking at all. Let's see. The object that threw in it to activate the incinerator must have been the crystal ball. No, what the killer threw in the incinerator was the clothes. And then the piece of evidence left behind is the last one.
Here's exactly what happened.
And we can now skip all this, but it's still fairly slow because there's unskippable transitions and animations here. And this whole manga concept could have easily been used outside of the class trials, in which either Hifumi could have drawn these, or Makoto could have had concepts and ideas presented. This game, it's crazy to say the game needs more story, but you could have gotten more story and characterization of people if there was more times in which you just had regular conversations that weren't directly influencing the main story plot. Like, everything that happens before the investigation space happens is still just moving the main story forward, whether it's talking about Genocide Jack, or it's Alter Ego, or it's searching the school to find new places where new murders will happen. I suppose the idea was that they felt like the characters wouldn't be likely to kill each other if they actually got to know each other and actually became friendly, and that would be the reason why their memory would have been erased also.
It would appear that Hiro simply...
Let's see.
When the killer removed
Bullet time battles. I suppose because I was playing on gentle, that might have been...
You kidding me? Not a chance.
That might have been the case where...
It wasn't me.
Why I don't have any bullets anyways.
You lie. Stop talking.
I just can hit A and Y here, and you just can't miss.
Not a chance. Stupid.
At least I guess I am missing.
You lie. Shut up.
It seems like it is just...
Where's your proof?
This should prove it.
It is very hard to mess it up, but I was still able to mess it up. Okay. Then you get this one weird animation that is never seen again. We probably did see Kyoko facing backwards used a couple times. That should be enough to give us at least 50. Please. 72. And I got an achievement for having 999 Monokuma tokens. And that's all we cared about, so... Is it really worth the extra 5 minutes it will take to potentially see the execution happen? I don't think it is. That being said, it is getting more and more difficult to exit out to the main menu. Okay. So now that we're at 999, we can go into this and we can unlock this, and we can unlock this, and we can unlock this, we can unlock this, and we'll just unlock everything. The only thing I kind of would wonder about is there possibly some new content that might be hidden behind some of this? I doubt it. The only one I could think would possibly be revealed as that there being more content in it would be the DVD footage of Monokuma's family. They're not charging much for the introduction videos. And they kind of stopped animating people sitting around the table. You would have thought that that would have been something that got used a lot. It wasn't. And then I suppose we could look here and see it, and it's still very much in the censored format. Like there's nothing there. We also kind of know that like she has the freckles on her face. So we know that's actually Mukura Ikisaba. So if you're going to mark everything as not new, you would potentially have to you would potentially have to watch everything too. I don't know if that's necessary. And these are just the events. They aren't the text. So it's kind of unnecessary content because you would see that content anyways if you just hid the text. So I guess maybe if that had not been an option and you couldn't have hid the text, we could see if maybe each of these characters see, these are like 32-year-olds though, so if these were supposed to be at least we know Ken Harada was a 32-year-old office worker, but none of these others really seem like they would have been young enough to be Toko's first love unless Genocide Jack came back and killed Toko's first love a lot later, which might be the case, is that it took quite a while until Genocide Jack appeared. There's nothing special, nothing different here about this cheesecake image. Here's the man's fantasy, which at least you probably can stay here. So you get Kyoko, but I assume she would still be wearing her gloves in this image, and you can see the towels are skin tight enough to show basically the outline of their butts, so you're basically seeing their butts anyways. Aoi with her hair down, Sayaka, where you get side boob on Sayaka, and yeah, she looks less scarred in this from the back than she does in the front, which seems weird. And then you have in the background a character slipping on the soap and falling into the bathtub. This image is also reversed, by the way. It's in the wrong angle completely, unless it's an angle that you don't get to see otherwise. There's something wrong with the hair of the two characters on the right. If it is Celeste we're looking at that is sitting in the pool next to a glass of what one has to assume is not wine, otherwise she's sneaking wine, which maybe she is, then that has to be Toko in the background, which that makes sense. Toko slipping, she has her glasses flying off. So, okay. Well, then that brings about the weird question is, how in the world did Celeste get her big amount of hair to wrap up all into a bun on the top of her head? That seems unbelievable. And it kind of highlights how every single character has the same fetish of having the same long hair, different colors, but the same hair. You can kind of see Kyoko is looking directly at where the camera lens is, so Kyoko almost certainly did see them. See Makoto peeking in. And they would be honor bound to be upset about that, certainly. Subverting consent as such. But yeah, that's about as cheesecakey as this game wanted to go. And as far as adult content, you can also see that certainly in the fact that all the blood is bright pink, that they held themselves back, and they probably shouldn't have. If they had just done real red blood, I'm not sure if they had just censored it for the Japanese people release, because the Japanese wouldn't have let him have all that blood. They should have decensored it for the worldwide release. Let's see, I assume that was Mukura, Ikusaba, or Junko, either way, but we didn't really get any big amount of information from that scene anyways. The way it shows images is weird. It scrolls upward, but pushing down puts it downward. Here you get the fighting sequence, and at the end you see the back of Sakura's shirt is like all torn and her underwear is showing. I hadn't even seen that part. I wonder if that actually did show in the main story. Or if maybe they cut that bottom part of the scene. See, if this was supposed to happen right after that section, that doesn't really make sense. Then we have a UFO stealing his hamburger. I feel like some of these scenes are not actually used in the game. Whereas a lot of them definitely are. And you can see at this point a lot of the scenes are definitely focused around the death of Sakura and then chapter 5. And the fact that Monokuma got a cold was definitely just convenient. Unless somebody poisoned him, so he was sick. And if that was the case, then that never got revealed. Here we have the alternate ending image again. And here you have another image that maybe is a little bit less darkened with the upskirt shot, but you're still not really saying anything. That it, once again, was a great example of a scene that literally did not need to be animated at all. It was just a waste of time. And we assume that this is the headmaster, but we don't go any further with that. We don't really get any story with the headmaster. All this kind of needs to be addressed in the sequel, or they need to just do a soft reboot. Is every single interview. That way, if there is a soft reboot, then it could just be a whole new group of students and a whole new alternate universe. Let's see. It just smoke changes into the real Junko. Ultimate despair. Monitor of truth. Truth of the outside world. The Despair Sisters. The end. The end. The end. The end. The end. Button of hope. Monokuma still lives, question mark, and then you have Monokuma Theater, Monokuma Theater, Monokuma Theater, and none of that ever made any sense either. If anything, all it does is establish that Monokuma is not just a robot, which if you were going to make 15 Monokuma Theaters to establish that Monokuma is not, well, no, 17 of them to establish Monokuma is not a robot, you've really wasted your content. Let's see, that was from 999 down to 624. Then, yeah, this punishment prologue, this one in particular, makes very little sense. Because we just don't know who this person is. Is he supposed to be the headmaster? I guess maybe. So the headmaster was kidnapped, put in here in a classroom, and then the rocket was sent way up. So the headmaster was supposed to live with them. And then that goes up through the roof, which he would have had to fix the roof at that point, if this is really how it went. And I am assuming that the headmaster didn't kill anybody to justify doing this. Oh yeah, that's the headmaster with the broken skulls. So you see that at the beginning, and he just looks like he's a student. He doesn't even really look like an adult. So I guess we know that the headmaster is dead. It feels like there should have been extra punishments here for other students, just unused art, or branching paths in which you could have had that. And then you have just like redundant appearances for 3 coins, as far as it's the exact same image with just fewer people in a scene. And yeah, if you had made like specific ways other characters had been murdered, they could have been extras, that would have been nice. See, here you have in the demo, it was Yashahiro that was stabbed. So there's a slight difference there. And then you have the ending, which I don't know if this animated ending actually goes all the way through the credits or not. Hopefully I'd be able to skip it. Certainly doesn't show anything outside. If anything, it kind of implies that the outside, it really is just a horrific, like, magical hellscape. You could easily introduce a bad guy in the second game that brainwashed Junko into thinking that a tragedy had happened. And see, in this case, you see the backs of everybody, so you don't know if that's Mukura or Junko escaping. It doesn't look like it's both, but it is everybody else. But there's basically no way that that scenario would have occurred. I still can't help but feel like there was just a rather wasteful idea by having so much 3D environments in this game when it just wasn't really necessary. Of course, they screw you over here because now you're going to have to go horizontally instead of vertically. So in this image, can we zoom in? Yes, we can. You have them all in like a field day outfits and athletic outfits. And Hifumi has a white camera instead of a standard camera. And Kyoko's still got gloves on her hands, so that still happened. You have, interestingly, what looks like 2 Mukura Ikisabas in this image. Wait a minute, how does this work? Starting on the right, you have Byakuya, and then Taka and Hifumi. And is that Chihiro dressed as a girl? It is, so definitely at that point hiding very well. And then you have Mondo and Sakura and Hina, and then you have Leon and Makoto, and then to the left there you have Sayaka. And then who are these 2 characters to the left of Sayaka? One of them's gotta be Celeste. So if I was to assume Celeste just has her goth Lolita clothing off, and that's Celeste in the back. Is that Toko directly? I guess that's maybe Toko. Yeah, they look pretty different here. Like, you can kind of see why it's important to make characters consistent and stand out. And then obviously it would be Junko and Mukura, and then Yashahiro. And then, yeah, it's much easier here to see this image and recognize each character. Is Mukura in this one? I don't think so. And we have Monokuma onesies for a lot of the characters. And then we have some other artwork. And then we have a more stylized artwork piece where it looks like it's Sayaka and Kyoko chained together, and the chain wrapping around Monokuma. It doesn't probably really imply anything. It was just something they wanted to draw. More artwork. A slightly different magazine ad. You can definitely see how there is a just massive amount of focus here to advertise the game as much as possible. I think I've unlocked everything, unless I managed to skip something, which, if I did skip something, it'd be almost impossible to figure it out. So I'm down to 464 pieces of art. Or 464 Monokuma tokens. Yeah, I think I've just unlocked everything. But I guess if not, then I would just have to come back and check that. Doesn't feel like an achievement unlocked for that. I have 3 more achievements. And then we could now start playing music. I wouldn't say the music is terrible in this game, but there is definitely an overuse of that music, in particular Beautiful Morning, and then a lot of songs that just sound very similar. And 2 versions of the same song, one with and without an intro. Beautiful Days really does not play well for this story. Yeah, I just feel like they probably would have done better to let some guests do some different types of music, or try to just vary it out. Class Trial Dawn, Chaos, Class Trial the Sun, Argument Break, Argument Turn Up the Heat, Argument Hope versus Despair, Hangman's Gambit, Closing Arguments. So many sections very rarely played. Not a single one of these has any dialogue, unless it is just the credits one. Rebirth Rebuild, I think, might be the credit song. And see, that just unlocked an achievement. I know that one achievement is to get all of the other achievements. Okay. So there is something I have not done. And I don't know what it is. And problem there is my internet is totally broken at this point. So I couldn't imagine it's either something like, probably is shooting 500 whispers if I was to guess. And you can see once I got up to 999 it left me with 289 more tokens, but also it's probably important to focus on the fact that there's a lot of presents you would have had to go through the whole thing, to the school store and buy. And see, if there was a slot machine that would potentially have let you got more Monokuma tokens, where it feels like it probably should have done that. That clearly didn't happen. Like, it would be here in the main game. Interesting. So that rocketed up when I did 999 tokens. And it gave me a repeat. But that didn't do anything else. So I guess I could do that one more time. It's not like there's anything else to do with Monokuma tokens, and if I did need more Monokuma tokens, it wouldn't really matter. So you do get a lucky when you do 999. But that's not unlocking an achievement or anything. So is there anything else to say about this game? Well, even 91 will rock it up. I wonder if just having one token would have rocketed it up, because you're already at 100% repeat chance. Yeah, there's basically nothing it could give you. Let's go with no on that one, because that didn't give me anything, just in case. There's really no reason to play school mode anymore.
Thrills, chills.
There's nothing on the chapter select. See if you're gonna say go to Japanese and do the epilogue. Yeah, you still would have to do the class trial, and that would still be a lot of work. So yeah, that's Trigger Happy Havoc Danganronpa. Danganronpa. Man, I mispronounced that a lot. I was expecting something a little bit more mature. I was expecting a little bit more difficult murder mysteries. I enjoyed it to a certain level, certainly because in watching Game Grumps played it, I was then motivated to finally get around to play this game. I had already planned on playing it, but as it dragged on, as it added the 1.2 reloaded content that added hours and hours of content, it definitely became too much. A lot of the characters are just not written to a style that I appreciate, and so it has that as a problem. Also, the game is extremely repetitive and grindy, and that is a almost just categorical problem with visual novel games. And at the core of it, this is a visual novel game when I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more action based, and it was compared to a standard visual novel with all the gameplay mechanics and the trials, but it was still very, very standard visual novel outside of the trials. Anyways, that's going to be it for this series. Yeah, there's really not any more criticism I can say. Maybe I would say play this game, but then I would also say get a 100% unlocked save file after you've played it through the main game, and maybe play through the 1.2 reloaded content of the school days section once, but don't probably do what I did and waste a bunch of time grinding. Anyways, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have a playlist tab that has a playlist for every game I've ever covered. There's plenty there. Check them out. I'd recommend, if you really love this, to check out 999, the Nonori game, which is like 9 doors, 9 lives, 9 hours, or something by that name. That is a more mature visual novel style death game with perhaps slightly more interesting stories to tell and more of an interesting twist. Otherwise, if you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list, or just gift me a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.